Hello. How's it going? Just let me know. I'm having a bit of issues with the microphone, so let me know if it's a bit sad. Okay, manuscript. It's Hans's brother. Hans Gruber.
Let's take another look at the manuscript. There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the monitor, but he was only off playing.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull. Read a bit like a Bible.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. A knight with a crystal ball. And there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, it is written in Latin. Al principium mea lux videvi.
By my teachings, you see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has three hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen of Snow White.
She was the one who said mirror, mirror on the wall, wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid. Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodiles, but I had music. There's a guy working on a windmill. He's weaving a carpenter and tapestry.
Oh, wait, do they presume? It's a clue to a place for hunting. Somewhere famous for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels.
To feed proper boxes. Look there, two guys on the fence. Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
Only a guy who specializes in medieval things. His name is Nobby.
What a stuffy old fossil with a toenail for ancient art.
Don't tell me. Aren't they able to study a typical professor of the other day?
Where can I find this beloved old guy?
At the Stone Museum. I'll give you the address.
Let's take another
No,
look.
that's not.
There's a
Yeah.
knight with a knife.
No, I guess that's it.
I have to go.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobby Note at the Stone Museum.
Oh, hi.
Hello, my handsome friend.
Does this match book mean anything to you?
No, but I can tell you.
you.
Watch out! You will come down on top of us!
Let's just back to Nico's apartment, which isn't a bad option, I guess. Through the show.
Did you speak to Labino?
No, was where? I found the tripod.
When?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Lochmar.
I have heard of Lochmar. I read an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
Popular gossip, maybe. You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
Professor Elijah Pegram. What's the way you named the castle Lochmar? That's strange.
What?
He designed a chair at York University in order to oppose the excavation. Not only that, but he canceled the building quite soon as it was covered with tombstones. The site at Lochmar must be long overbuilt.
He's a professor of history. One of Britain.
Insane. I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. He was on a trip to Ireland.
Disappointed.
Huh?
But I want to go. I want to follow up to the murder. If you really think Peter's plan is important, why don't you visit Lochmar?
Well, I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it met in Norfolk, but both account victims didn't express when they disappeared.
Where?
Second week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
Let's take another look at them. There's a guy with a sword. Between them, there's a guy. There's a woman looking at the reflection. A knife with a crisp, a knife through my teeth.
Yeah, they
Look there, two guys on the...
Come to realize this sport.
They can't find...
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
I'm going to Ireland on my own then.
I passed the castle on the way into Lochmar. The castle where Pegram's excavation is located.
No?
It was a beer-stained piece of towel. you, mister. My name's Fitzgerald.
Can I get you another drink?
Oh, no, thank you. I shouldn't be drinking at all. I've been tablets from a nurse. Wasn't a pint and I'll pass out.
What can you tell me about the castle?
There's nothing there. Just an old ruin.
How old?
I really couldn't tell you.
Do you know Professor Pegram?
He's the archaeologist, isn't he?
That's right. Did you work at Professor Pegram's dig?
What gave you that idea?
Have you ever explored the castle yourself?
I used to play there sometimes. When I was a kid, then one of the little ones fell off the wall and broke his head and died. We didn't
Broke
go
his
there
head.
anymore.
You haven't been up there recently?
No.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I'm sure I don't know.
Shake my hand.
The trick, isn't it?
Damn it, you're right. I can't seem to fool anyone. Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No.
See you later. Hi there, old-timer. What? Nasty cold you've got there. As soon as the words left my lips, I regretted them.
Is there such a thing as a cold which isn't nasty? I put the question to Father Mahone. Father, says I, why were we born to suffer snot?
What did he say?
He said, it's my reward for being out all night like a sinner. Fire, drink. Anyway, this is no ordinary cold. It's the hay fever.
Halitosis?
Thank you. You're not a policeman, are you?
Excuse me?
Police? No. I'd know it if you were.
Can I buy you a beer?
Very kind, I'm sure. But I don't drink the stuff here, he said.
What's wrong with it?
I've seen what it can do.
Can you tell me how to get into the castle?
Don't even think about it, me bucko. Lockdown Castle is haunted.
Ghosts don't bother me. I still want to visit that castle.
You can. It's not open to the public.
There's no one around to stop me.
That's right. Nothing human, anyhow.
Do you know Pegram, the archaeologist?
That's the scrawny fellow who was poking around at the castle, isn't it? No, I don't know him.
Have you ever seen the ghost?
To be sure. With me very own eyes.
Can you describe the ghost?
It was horrible. A wee stunted beast, long beak, straggly, flappy wings.
Are you sure it wasn't a wild animal? A rabbit or a skunk or something?
Skunk? In Lochmarn? That'll be the day. No, that was a ghost, to be sure.
What's that you're making?
It's a necklace, me bucko.
Oh, sure. Made out of steel wire?
That's right. A necklace for my pretty one. When my little lover feels it round her slender neck, she'll be mine. All mine.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
I can't tell without my glasses.
What does this matchbook mean to you?
Nothing. Go away and stop bothering me.
I'll see you later. Top of the morning to you.
I beg your pardon.
Well, that's what you Irish say, isn't it?
Do you want something? Or are you just flaunting your xenophobia?
Well, I was trying to be sociable.
Is it a room you're after?
That's not a bad idea. Do you have a vacancy?
I could, if you don't mind waiting until the last guest checks out.
No problem. When will that be?
When the undertaker comes to collect him.
I'll try a glass of beer, please.
Is this your first pint of real ale?
Well, I guess so. What's real ale, anyhow?
Beer that's brewed from natural ingredients to traditional methods. It shouldn't be kept under pressure or refrigerated. And finally, it should have a good body and distinctive character.
In other words, it's flat and warm with bits in, and it makes you fall over.
Have you served any, clowns recently?
No, you're the first today.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Indeed I do. Are you a friend of his, by any chance?
Oh, no. I'm just trying to track him down.
Me too. That son of a bitch should be locked away.
Did Pegram stay here?
Yes, he did. 6 nights plus breakfast.
Do you recognize this man?
No, I don't. What do you want with him?
I've got a score to settle.
I don't want any trouble in the bar, mister. If it's a fight you're looking for, see Father Mahoney.
A priest? A man of the cloth?
Sure. And he teaches the boys how to box at the youth club. According to Mahoney, it develops character. Isn't that right, Pat? Didn't he teach you the art of pugilism? Dial.
Sorry, Michael. I was miles away. What did you say?
Never mind.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
No, sir.
Do you recognize the name on this card?
No. Should I?
Nah, it was a long shot. Look, I gotta be going. Hi there.
What?
What's your name, kid?
Who are you calling kid? Who the hell are you?
I'm George Stobart, and I'm with the good guys.
You're a head case, mister. A few sandwiches short of the picnic.
Cut the crap and tell me your name.
Liam McGuire.
What are you doing hanging around the bar, McGuire?
I'm on the run from me dad.
Why? Did you do something bad?
I ain't done nothing, boss.
You can tell me, kid. Is it your dad?
Oh, sir. He drinks every last penny down his evil throat. And there's me poor old mother, bedridden and dying of presumption. I tried to buy her medicine. Chopped firewood for Father Mahoney till me fingers bled. The old skinflint cheated me too. But I took the pennies he gave me back home. Look, Ma, says I, see what your darling son has earned with his own sweat and blood. When suddenly, me dad appears and grabs the loot. I'm off to Dublin, heavy drinking, says he. Watch out till I get back. That's why I runned away.
Something in the grin on his face told me he wasn't being strictly truthful. Compared to him, Huckleberry Finn was a candidate for Altar Boy of the Year. Do you know anything about Pegram's Dig?
He wouldn't let me anywhere near it. I offered to help, but he chased me off. I didn't want to see his smelly old hole anyhow.
Did anyone from the village work at the dig?
Pegram brought some students and bums with him. He reckoned no one in Lochmarn would know what to look for. The only local guy who worked for him was Sean Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald says he's never been anywhere near the dig.
He's having you on, mister.
What can you tell me about the castle, McGuire?
What do you want to know?
Well, can I get inside?
No, it's locked up.
Does anyone live there?
No. Only, what do you want to know? Oh, nothing.
You know something about the castle you're not telling me, don't you?
No.
What is it you're covering up? Is it something you're scared of?
I ain't scared of nothing.
I'll give you one last chance to tell me about the castle.
Oh, yeah? And what if I don't?
Then I'm taking you back to school.
Oh, there's a ghost. It's called the Phantom of Loch Man.
You're not telling me you believe in ghosts, are you?
Mister, I seen it with me very own eyes. Last Tuesday night, I went up to see what that dig was about. I just reached the top of the wall when I hears this awful noise.
What sort of noise?
A horrible snuffling and snorting, like O'Brien's pig, only worse. It was coming from inside the castle.
Did you find out what was making the noise in the castle?
No fear. I just sat there on the wall like Humpty Dumpty. The moon was cracked and greasy like an old dinner plate. The yard was full of shadows. I could have been hiding anything. I would have gone home, but my legs had lost their stuffing.
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
Here in Lochmarn, they all dress like clowns.
The man I'm looking for is a dangerous psychotic.
Jesus. It's just like that film I saw. There's this clown, see? And he's after this kid who saw him kill a guy. He tries to warn the sheriff, only no one believes him. Then, while he's in the tub, the clown cuts him up with a chainsaw.
My God, that doesn't sound suitable for a kid like you.
Who are you calling a kid? I'm 25.
Yeah, right. You're not a day over 14.
Oh no, it's 25 that I am. Married with a car and 3 kids. 10 kids if you count the wives.
Did you get to see the ghost?
Indeed I did. And a fearsome sight it is too. I sat on my arse, waited while the moon went down. Then out it comes from the shadows, all grey and tattered and hunched over like an old bent willow. Then I hears this spluttering and splashing and horrible laughter in the dark. I was so scared. Why, I fell off the bloody wall.
I'm sure there's a rational explanation for what you saw at the castle.
There is. The bloody place is haunted.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Can you describe him like on the telly in the cop shows?
He's an English archaeologist.
I know the man you mean if he's the one.
Can you tell me where I'd find Pegram?
No, I can't, because he's not here now, but if I sees him, I'll ask him.
Do you know what Pegram was doing in the castle?
Digging for buried treasure. Jewels and gold and skeletons, like in the films.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Hi, do you speak English?
Well, now, what if I was to say no? An implication of cognizance shrouded in denial. A pretty poser of a paradox indeed.
I gave him the look I'd perfected when I was 12 and was going to be the greatest hypnotist of all time. It was a killer.
Are you attempting to hypnotize me, or is it the constipation you're suffering?
I was a little out of practice. Have you seen Professor Pegram?
No, he's packed up and gone.
Do you happen to know where?
Back in England, I suppose.
What can you tell me about the castle?
Not much, I'm sorry to say. Most of its history is long forgotten. Ah, but if these old stones could only speak, what stories they'd tell. Stories to make your toes curl and your blood run cold. You know, this castle is said to be over 600 years old.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, but I wouldn't trust him. His eyes are too close together.
I have to go now. Pushing with all my strength got me nowhere. They didn't budge. I really need to start working out. As soon as the old guy looked away, I grabbed his piece of wire. Mr. Fitzgerald? McGuire says he saw you working at the dig. What's more, he saw you talking with Pegram.
I knew this would happen. I knew I'd get caught.
I need to talk to Professor Pegram, if he's still alive.
What do you mean? Is he in danger?
Yeah, you too, if I'm right.
You're not from the Social Security.
Hell no. What makes you think that?
Well, I was claiming benefit at the same time I was working for Pegram.
I'm not in a position to make judgments, Sean. That's between you and your conscience. All I want is to talk to Pegram about the gem.
But he's not here.
I know that. But he left that package with you, didn't he? So where did Pegram go?
I don't know. I swear it. He came to see me early this morning. Said he was leaving. He asked me to give this package to a guy called Marquet.
Show me what's in the package, Sean.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I promised the professor.
So what? You didn't have any qualms about your benefit scam. So where's the harm in taking a peek inside Pegram's package?
You don't know these people. I can't. I don't dare.
This is your last chance to show me the package, Fitzgerald. I've been patient with you.
But he'll kill me.
Who will?
I'm from Paris. Pegram told me if I gave him the package unopened, I'd hear no more about it. But if I double-crossed Marquet, I'd be dead.
I'll deal with Jacques Marquet. Give the package to me.
No. Why should I trust you? I don't know who to trust anymore. I wish I'd never even heard of the Lochmarn gem. Hey, I just seen a big red...
Get out of here, McGuire. Come back when you're old enough.
What's the lad howling about?
A big red sports car. Sean Fitzgerald's been run over.
Get out! Noisy little tyke.
Maybe you should send out some medicinal brandy maker.
Oh, yes. And who's going to pay for it?
Not me.
Me too, neither.
I was telling the truth about Fitzy, mister.
Okay, calm down. Now tell me what happened.
I was standing here, minding my own business, when I saw this beautiful red sports car coming up over the hill. Would you look at that, says I. And I going over to take a closer look. Next thing, Fitzy comes tearing out of the pub and nearly knocks me on my ass. But the car just flies at him. It was too fast for poor old Fitzy, and hit him an awful wallop. He goes flying up on top. Jesus, says I thought he was a goner. Next thing, the driver hops out, and I couldn't believe my eyes. He was dressed like a bloody pixie.
Hey, McGuire.
What?
Did this pixie have a scar on his cheek?
I couldn't see. He was wearing a stupid mask. Are you a special agent?
Sorry to disappoint you, kid, but I'm not. Did Fitzgerald drop anything when he was hit?
I didn't see. It all happened so fast.
Maybe the package fell somewhere out of sight. See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
I pushed the switch down, but in doing so it snapped off in my hand. I tugged at the trapdoor, but it was locked from the inside. Hi, my name's Stobart, George Stobart.
Hello there, mister. What can I do for you?
Do you know Professor Pegram?
Do I know him? Do I know the good professor himself? No, I don't. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know him to talk to.
Do you know anything about Pegram's excavation?
Only that he didn't have the right tools for the job. What he needed was shovels and a JCB.
Pegram was digging for historical remains, not coal.
Is that a fact? What the hell for?
It's the science of archaeology, Pops. Understanding how people used to live by what they've left behind. One day archaeologists might be digging up our remains.
Imagine that, Mr. O'Brien. I wonder what they'll find.
Well, it won't be arrowheads and beakers. Fast food cartons and flavored condoms, more likely.
Did anyone from the village work at Pegram's dig?
I tried it myself, but that high and mighty history man called me incontinent. What a nerve. Hadn't I dug more holes than the rest of them put together?
Aren't you going to help Fitzgerald?
What does he need my help for?
Didn't you hear what McGuire said? He's been hit by a car.
What an idiot. People call me stupid, but I've never done that.
Don't you feel any sympathy for poor Fitzgerald?
He never bothered about me, so why should I?
Can you tell me anything about the castle on the hill?
Oh, I don't know much about anything. You should ask Mr. O'Brien here. He just joined up writing. Would you be one of them history fellows yourself?
That's right. Professor Stobart, Miskatonic University.
You're an archaeologist, and you're asking us about the castle.
Excuse me, Mr. O'Brien. The gentleman was talking to me. How come you didn't leave with the others?
I didn't know they'd gone.
Oh, yes. Packed their spades and shovels and away they went.
Seems I missed all the excitement.
What excitement?
Bye for now. Hello there. My name's George Stobart.
Pleased to meet you, I'm sure. I'm O'Brien. Can I help you?
I have a suspicion that Fitzgerald might have been given something by Pegram.
I thought he acted strangely.
I'm talking about the gem. It was something he said.
Were you not speaking to him when he ran out of the bar?
Yeah, sure. Just talking, that's all. Have you heard of the Phantom?
More than that. I've seen it. And let me tell you, it's a dreadful spectacle.
So it's not just a local legend. There really is a Phantom of Lochmarn.
Oh no, I was talking about the Phantom of the Opera.
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar?
I most certainly have. A remarkable institution. Did you know? They were the originators of our system of credit. Their financial empire stretched from the Atlantic to the Caspian Sea. With bases in so many countries, they had to establish new methods of fiscal transfer.
So, the Knights Templar were nothing but a bunch of bankers.
I don't get it. Are you saying these Templar guys invented bank charges?
In a manner of speaking, I suppose they did.
What a dirty trick. Didn't anyone try to stop them?
Oh yes, they were arrested and many were burnt at the stake.
Good. They bloody well deserved it if they were anything like my bank manager.
What can you tell me about the castle, Mr. O'Brien?
It's a fine sight now, isn't it? Dates back to the 10th century, you know. Most of the existing building was added much later, of course.
Are the ruins open to the public?
Oh no, it's much too dangerous. Anyway, there's nothing of interest remaining.
Can you tell me about the tripod which was found at the castle?
Now there's a bone of contention and controversy. It was dug up by an Englishman of the archaeological persuasion.
Who was this Englishman?
Professor Pegram, the same man who dug up the gem.
Do you know where I can find Pegram?
You're too late to meet that fella.
Is he dead?
Not that, but he's gone from the village. A sore point with our esteemed host, I might add.
Why is Pegram's departure upset the landlord?
He's lost a paying guest, that's why. More than that, there's the question of an unsettled bill. Poor Michael's seen red over the business, and I don't blame him.
Can you tell me more about the landlord?
Mick Leary? He's what you call a would-be sophisticated. The trouble is, his idea of sophistication extends as far as putting paper in the lavatory.
I never worked out why he did that. It's much too dark in there to read.
That's true. Have you ever run your hand over the back of the door? The graffiti is written in Braille.
How can I get into the castle?
Well, those walls were built specifically to stop people getting in, Mr. Stobart. But I dare say you'll find a way, if you've the will.
Do you know where Pegram has gone?
I'm sorry, but I don't. He upped anchor in the dark and shipped out before the dawn.
Why did he do that?
Who knows? A guilty conscience or a secret assignation. Whatever the reason, he'll not be missed in Lochmar. Maybe now the fuss about the gem has died down, we can get back to normal.
What can you tell me about the gem which Pegram found?
Now there's a gem which should never have been taken. A man would have to be full of greed to covet that stone. What's your interest in the jewel? You're not a reporter, are you?
Oh, no.
Thank the Lord for that.
Goodbye for now. The plastic cover had been smashed and broken away, revealing a switch. It was impossible to return the switch to its original position. Hi, it's me again.
So I see. What now?
Did you happen to see a red sports car down on the road?
I caught a glimpse of a flash of red on the hill and heard the racket. Sure, it was an awful noise. A sports car, you say?
A Ferrari, to be exact.
A racing car? And what was it doing here? The poor fella must have been lost.
The driver of the Ferrari was involved in an accident.
Is that so?
Yeah, he knocked somebody down outside the bar.
What an idiot! How could a thing like that happen?
He was traveling too fast.
So fast, he ran right under the car?
I mean, the car was traveling too fast.
But you'd have thought the idiot could have heard it coming.
Maybe you know the guy who was hit by the Ferrari. His name is Sean Fitzgerald.
Oh, I know him all right. That's me nephew, the idiot responsible for the stacking of my hay cart. Was he killed by the car?
Oh, no, but he has been abducted.
Well, that's a relief now.
Aren't you going to look for your nephew?
What for? From what you say, it's too late.
Well, you could report the matter to the police.
Better not. Besides, what could they do?
Well, they could mount a search.
They have only the one bicycle between them. In a question of superior acceleration, I put me money on the Ferrari.
I think you ought to know exactly what Sean has gotten himself into.
I'm not sure I want to know.
But you're his uncle, his own flesh and blood.
You're right, but what can I do? If I'm not here to guard it, some idiot might try to climb the haystack. What a moral dilemma. Stay here and guard this potentially lethal agricultural construction, or to go off in search of the prodigal nephew, the very man responsible for said hazard? It'll need some thinking about.
Why, there's no problem.
You're right. Why didn't I think of it before? We'll demolish the haystack.
You don't have to demolish the haystack to go look for Sean. I'll stay here in your place, and warn anyone who's silly enough to climb it.
Marvellous! I think I should start me inquiries in the bar.
He strode off in the direction of McDevitt's bar, leaving me to contemplate the stack of hay. The stack of hay stopped, short of the top of the wall. Even if I stretched as far as I could, the wall was out of reach. What I needed was a slice or two of Alice's Wonderland. I pushed my fingers into the narrow crack. It went back several inches into the rock. I inserted the end of the lifting key in the mortarless crack and gave it a firm shove. It remained lodged in the wall, jutting out to form a step. The rope by which the goat was tethered had become tangled on the old plowshare. As I dipped my fingers into the soft white powder, I realized what it was. Plaster of Paris. I'd used it in kindergarten to make casts of animal paw prints. I reached into the sack, but it was empty. The statue was too heavy to lift. It overbalanced into the sand. The statue lay face up in the soft sand. As I swung the stone upright, I noticed it had left a pattern of holes in the sand. I placed my fingers in the 5 impressions left by the fallen stone. It was weird. They fit perfectly. I sprinkled the plaster on the sand until the holes were filled. I smoothed the plaster level with the sand. It was my first experience of home improvement. I smoothed the plaster level with the sand. The patch of sand where the statue had fallen was covered with a dense sprinkling of plaster. I squeezed the towel as hard as I could, but it was barely damp. I smoothed I tried in vain to move the panel. I placed my fingers and thumb into the holes in the wall. Nothing happened. Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Check out my card.
I've seen it, for heaven's sake.
May I have another beer, please?
Certainly, sir. Same again?
Yeah, please. How is this stuff made?
That's the secret of the master brewer, sir. Each barrel is lovingly manhandled in time-honored fashion, suspended on skillfully tied ropes of the finest hemp, lowered into the cellar, utilizing the forces of original gravity, like manna from heaven. I'm sorry, but the pump appears to be broken.
I could fix it for you.
I don't think so. This is a job for a professional electrician. Oh well, at least the glass washer is still working. It's not my idea, is it?
It just so happens I'm an electrician. Check out my credentials.
Well, no. Isn't that marvelous? Ha! Here's a house bedeviled with faulty wiring of a wayward nature. Here's you, an electric man, with a little plastic card to prove it. I still want to see what you can do before I let you touch me beer pumps. You can make a start on the glass washer. When you finish that, will you take a look at the pumps?
I couldn't see anything obviously wrong with the machine. I figured it must be the wiring. I used all my knowledge of electrical engineering to examine the plug. I replaced the fuse with a piece of wire. I knew it was dangerous, but I was desperate enough to disregard everything I knew about standard safety precautions. Excuse me, Mr. Leary. I fixed your glass washer, no problem.
Bingo! And a blessing to all the saints. A free half pint to that man, on the house. Now, could you take a look at the beer pumps?
I guess so, but I'm not making any promises.
If you can't fix them, I'll have a riot on my hands.
The pumps are in the cellar, right?
That's right. You'll find a flashlight down there somewhere.
I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal, but nothing appeared to happen. I pulled the lever and the bolt creaked back into place. I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal. I lifted the trap door, and an overpowering smell of stale beer rose from the cellar below. I looked down on a stone-tiled floor, way too far to jump.
Excuse me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan. What's the problem?
Did you see what happened here a few minutes ago?
What was that?
A man was involved in an unfortunate accident.
I didn't see anything.
What about the boy?
He doesn't know anything either. The kid, well, you know how it is in these rural communities. Not enough genes to go round. I prayed McGuire had the sense to keep his mouth shut. Was the guy hurt bad?
He's been taken care of, but he thinks he dropped a small parcel. You didn't happen to find it, did you?
If I had, I would have taken it to the police.
Of course. Thank you.
It was impossible to... Now I could see. I spotted Mr. Leary's flashlight easily. Then I noticed a flash of light. Something sparkling beneath the open trap door. It was Peagram's gem, all right. A large, uncut blue stone. I guess I was already under its spell.
Did you find it?
What?
Whatever you was looking for.
Yeah. Listen, McGuire. I want you to keep this to yourself.
No problemo. Just chuck us up a crate of lager.
No way. You're not old enough.
We can sell it and make some cash.
Forget it, kid. I couldn't betray Mr. Leary's trust.
I could, for sure. That old misery guts deserves it.
If you want to do me a favor, keep a lookout for that guy in the suit.
Okay. But it'll cost you a packet of chips.
Oh, and shout if you see that Ferrari. The slow drip of water barely dampened the towel. The faucet creaked, coughed, and spewed out a stream of rusty-colored water. I held the towel under the faucet and soaked it with water. I shut off the faucet as tight as I could, but it kept on dripping. trickle of water was quickly absorbed by the plaster. I eased the solid piece of plaster from the sand. Underneath, it had formed a perfect copy of the statue. The hardened plaster cast fitted snugly into the 5 matching sockets. There was a soft thud, then silence.
I had messages waiting to be played.
You have 3 messages.
Hey, Collard, it's me, your favorite editor. Guess what? I'm gonna give you a second chance. I need somebody to write the TV column. Pays lousy, so what's new? If you're interested, drop by the office. In fact, drop by the office anyway. We have to talk, Nico. That story of yours I spiked. It won't go away. You've made some dangerous enemies out there.
Hey, Nico, it's your old pal. I mean, your new pal, George. Whoa, Ireland. It's a whole different country. And I got some amazing news for you. Gem of a story, in fact. Oh, gotta go. Yeah, fella here's got a drink lined up for me. See you tomorrow, Nico. Slonsha. Yep, only here for a day and I'm speaking the lingo like a local.
Mademoiselle Coulard, this is Imelda Carchon. I wanted to thank you for being so understanding when... Come to lunch, why don't you? Tomorrow. I might have more news. There's a Monsieur Merlon coming to see me this evening. He says he knows why Pierre was murdered. In fact, he'll be here shortly. I shall let you know what he says. Goodbye, dear girl. Till tomorrow.
Merlin? Oh my God. Merlin's the killer. I better get over there and mourn her now. When it came to being two-faced, Imelda was up there with the best. I owed her nothing, but I couldn't just let her die. I arrived to find the Palais Royal courtyard deserted. I only hoped that I'd beaten the assassin here. I had to warn Imelda before it was too late. Fixed tight, presumably to stop critics stealing it. Who else would want to? That broken window looked like the best way in. I unhooked the first wire. Fixed tight. Presume. I released the second wire. Even with both wires removed, the statue remained upright. If I could deconstruct this, I could deconstruct anything. The plastic sheet was thick and strong. I'd need more than my hands to tear it.
Hello, Advina. How are you? Welcome to Stupid Ross family. Straight in. This is one of my favourite games as well. Incredible game. The whole series, in fact, I love it. This was my first time playing the director's cut though. Yeah, the Nico parts are new to me, but the rest of it I love. Such a good game. Have you played the rest of the series, Adrena? Hello, Plot Culture. How the devil are you today? How's the... Oh. Such a good series of games. Good to hear, Plot Culture. Oh, good on you, Advina. I've recently played 5 for the first time a couple of months back. I loved it. It's really nice to have a game sort of like go back from the 3D look to how it was before. Oh, there's a key for this thing. What's in the box?
The box was carved by my father. Never had a key. The elephant on the lid was a perfect match to conceive. I took out the key. I couldn't believe it. Imelda's key opened my father's box. I dreaded what I was going to find inside. was a photograph of Imelda. Why here? In my father's house. I felt as if a black horror swallowed me up. Imelda and Carchon grinning. While behind them a village was being razed to the ground. Its people butchered. And there, next to them, staring out at me across the years, my own father. There was a letter. I fear there was even worse to come.
Edwina, is there any news on Broken Sword 6?
Hotel St. George, Algiers, my darling Cuba. By the time you read this, you'll be safely out of Africa. You need no fear. Here and the organization do not know who you're really working for. All about us. Did you think I would betray you? I couldn't. You wanted me to leave him, but I don't have your courage. I know too much of what has been going on here. They would find me and they would kill us both. Enjoy your life in Paris, Claudia. Your life of honor, of patriotic duty. Do they give medals to spies? No, they'll just give you a funny job in an embassy somewhere. I could never share that with you. Imagine me, a diplomat's wife. So I must stay here here, the two of us bound together by what we have done to this country. Au revoir, Maria. You will be in my heart until I die. Amanda, something in everything makes sense. My father had been working undercover for the government. He was one of the big guys after all. He and Amanda must have fallen in love. She found out who Villa was, so I had to leave. I had complained that she had never revealed it to anyone. I knew I couldn't leave her. Whatever he was doing, he'd have good reason to be concerned. I decided I would respect that until now.
Holy cow. I did hear about that. They're releasing Beyond the Steel Sky 2, which is awesome news. Can't wait for that.
Hello, George. So, where did you stay last night?
At McDermott's. I get to drinking at 4 of them.
That explains why you looked so ill today. Did you get any sleep at all?
Not much. I had to share a room with Uncle Dad.
Did he snore?
Hardly. He was dead.
And you say Pigman has disappeared?
Without trace. But I figured it wasn't completely forgotten.
Pigman Jim?
Templars, Jim. Whoever Jacques Marquet is, Mom thinks.
Jacques Marquet?
He's the guy who shot the wonderful Jem from Fitzgerald.
What do you say?
I want to find out who, what, or where all that shot. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture that hangs on the wall.
Yeah, I heard they're releasing a is it like a 20-year anniversary box set for Broken Sword, and the Beyond the Steel Sky as well, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Let's take another look at the numbers again. Right. The night scroll through my... There's your portrait in reflection across 3 previous faces.
I hope one day at least I want another story to play through.
There's a guy with a sword in the wood.
Yeah. Broken Sword 5, I loved. I thought it was brilliant. Especially after Broken Sword 4 as well, which wasn't great, but nice. Yeah, they're so good. I haven't played 2.5 yet, the fan game, but I've got it ready to go.
Don't forget to look the lucky note at the friendly hand. And write on the sheet also according to this.
Okay. Anything else I can do for you while I'm out shopping or putting the laundry
Just the chemical stuff.
Thank you for the follow, Advina, as well. Always grateful for new followers.
I so much wanted to talk to George about everything that happened, but I knew I needed to. My father's connection to Africa would have to remain a secret from me. His bravery would be known only to the government, and to me, revealing it would just damage his morale. People would take the story and twist it. Before long, he would be the Ferdinand Panchon of England. I know how to do that. I'm a journalist.
I'm a journalist. Where to next? I can't go back drinking in Ireland. I could try and use one. See if that guy's back. For a few days, I guess. Little sausage. Ostrich. He sounds like a Jamaican Frenchman as well. been through this conversation. Let's go to the key station now. Post de police. Good friend me. Guido.
He used to be known as the Mole of Mama. I heard he's been hospitalized, probably by one of his violent bosses. Which hospital is located? The Iron Man Clinic on the Avenue des Hérissons.
Thank you.
Why did Montaigne know the Mole of Mama? Because he lived in Montmartre, I suppose. Why the mole? I don't know. Maybe he ruined people's lives.
Bina, which begins. There's some background from that. Okay. Yeah, I'm having some issues with my Mac at the moment. Sort some settings out on that. And how's that? Let's do some.
Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his left cheek.
No, monsieur.
He also calls himself Thomas Merlin.
I'm sorry, Monsieur Stobart.
How's that
I don't
now?
know him. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume. Does this matchbook mean anything to you, Sergeant?
That's a double-line Swedish with a crosshatch Bergman strike strip. Now, that's unusual. Pre-war Anderson
Cool.
hinging.
You can still hear me, not
I
that
haven't
that's
seen a
a good thing.
reinforced Anderson outside of a private collection.
It's rare then?
In this part of the world, yes. There are only 3 places these are made. Taiwan, Manila, and Slough.
The bumming of the cafe.
Would you like to shake my hand, Sergeant?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur. The gesture could be misconstrued.
Alright. Hospital.
See you later, Sergeant.
Check the audio. Okay. Speed check. Okie dokie. The hospital. So I should probably be playing a couple of the Broken Sword games over the next couple of weeks. Might as well. I haven't played the first 3 for a while, and I haven't played 2.5 ever. I've heard it's pretty good though.
Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Really? If you wish to make an appointment, see the receptionist.
I'm looking for a guy named Jacques Marquet.
In which department does he work?
He doesn't. he's a patient.
I see. You do realize there are strict policies regarding visiting hours, don't you?
It's my microphone. It's using the laptop microphone, and I think the washing machine's on. I'll turn the microphone down a bit and talk a bit louder maybe when I need to talk.
This is important. I have to talk to Marquet urgently.
We make no exceptions to the rules.
It's a matter of life and death.
The well-oiled running of this hospital is a matter of life and death. That's why we have rules.
I think I ought to warn you that Marquet is not what he seems.
Explain yourself.
He's in league with a bunch of guys who want to take over the world.
Nonsense. Besides, Marquet's employers have paid in advance for one of our most exclusive private rooms.
Could you tell me who Marquet's employers are?
Certainly not.
Okay.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, sir, I do not.
Well, thank you for your help.
Thanks for your help. Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Is this the Hagenmeyer Clinic?
That's correct.
I thought I was in a garden center.
Oh, the plans. They were my idea. A little greenery to evoke the spirit of nature. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Jacques Marquet.
Oh, yes. Are you related to our client, sir?
Yeah, I'm his long-lost brother.
A brother half his age with a different name and an American accent.
Yeah, people always say that. I blame Mom. We were separated at an early age. After a mix-up in the nursery at the Oakland shopping mall.
I've never heard anything so ridiculous in all my life.
I guess not. So, do I get to see Marquet before the funeral?
That attitude will get you nowhere. My instructions were quite clear. No one gets to see Marquet. So unless you can prove you're a relative or a close acquaintance, you're wasting your time here.
Look at this ID pass.
So you're Merlin. Marquet's been asking for you.
For me?
Yes. He was shouting your name when they brought him in here. Now, let me see. He was on Ward B12, as I recall. Oh, he's being transferred to... Oh, dear. He's on Ward J2. That's... Nurse Grendel's ward.
Uh-oh. What's wrong with Nurse Grendel?
What's so bad about Nurse Grendel?
She runs that ward like a South American prison.
Keeping a well-disciplined ward isn't a crime, is it?
Well disciplined. In the discipline and punishment stakes, she'd whip the butt off the Marquis de Sade. Everything, I mean everything, is done to a strict routine. 6 o'clock alarm call, 6:10 bowel movements, and woe betide anyone who doesn't have a result. Those patients of hers are like Pavlova's dogs.
She sounds like a real nightmare.
And then some.
Has Marquet had a visit from a pair of gangsters?
I should hope not. Can you describe them?
A thin guy who looks like a weasel and his friend, the gorilla.
Sounds as if they escaped from the zoo.
If Nurse Grendel is that bad, how come the authorities tolerate her?
She's like part of the furniture.
I was beginning to get the picture. This woman was jealous, with a big green capital J. Has Marquet been visited by a man in a clown costume?
Oh, no.
You haven't seen a man in disguise?
Well, there's Theodore the Bear. He comes every Thursday to entertain the children. Personally, I think he scares them half to death in that crummy old bear suit. If I was stuck on my back with tubes in every orifice, he's the last person I'd want to see.
How do I find Nurse Grendel's ward?
Down the corridor on the left, turn right at the senior consultant's washroom. Right again at the executive coffee lounge. Bear left past the administrator's sauna. And turn left at the end. That's
Nice.
J2. And good luck.
Thanks for your help, ma'am.
You're welcome.
As I turned the corner, I saw the source of the hellish noise which echoed through the corridors. It was an industrial polishing machine with an odd-looking guy in tow.
Check for this odd-looking guy then. Sure, it's lovely.
Hello.
What's that?
I said hello.
Oh, hiya.
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
That's what I thought you said. Don't look so down in the mouth. No matter how bad things seem, I never let life get on top of me.
Oh, yeah? What's your secret?
Why, it's easy. All you have to do is smile and whistle this little tune.
You know what?
Paris hospital.
If you start whistling, I'll bust you in the teeth.
It's a deal.
Do you know where I'd find a patient called Marquet?
No, I'm not allowed on the wards with Mr. Shiny.
Have you seen any unsavory characters lurking about in the corridors?
No, sir, I haven't. But I've got nothing to worry about. What's that, Mr. Shiny? You'd take good care of the rascals, I'll bet you would.
Mr. Shiny.
With a friend like him, I've no fear of oppressors.
It must be a great comfort.
He is.
Would Mr. Shiny be your polishing machine by any chance?
Please, don't call him that. He's more of a friend than a machine. I've had Mr. Shiny.
How come you got so attached to a polishing machine?
I asked you not to call him that. He's got a name, you know.
Yeah, Mr. Shiny. It's just that...
You think it's odd, don't you? I don't mind. The rest of the staff think I'm twisted. I heard them snorking behind me back when I gave Mr. Shiny his weekly pull-through.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Who is it?
That's what I'm asking you. Have you seen him before?
How should I know? You haven't told me who he is.
Take a look at the photo.
Yeah, okay.
Now, have you seen him before?
No.
This guy's great.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not until I've washed, if you don't mind, sir.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
You should never, ever play with matches.
I know that, but...
People get hurt when they do. They end up in hospital, like the burger lady. She was so burned up, they didn't know whether to use bandages or onions.
Thanks, dude.
See you later.
Yeah, take care now.
The connector in the socket supplied electricity to the polishing machine.
Hey now, you can't go in there.
How come?
I'm responsible for the contents of that cupboard.
I love the music in this game as well.
As I tugged the plug out of the socket, the polishing machine coughed, spluttered, and died.
Mr. Shiny, what's wrong, pal?
Dr. Stobart, if you please.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Oh, hi. Is this Ward J2?
Yes, sir. The patients are ready for your inspection, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse.
You'll need this, Doctor.
She gave me a long, narrow metal box and a stunning smile. Thanks.
Could you take a look at the client in bed number 3 now? His name is Eric Sopmarsh.
Do you have a patient named Marquet on this ward?
Oui, monsieur. He is in the private room at the end of the ward. He has been placed in strict isolation.
Why is Marquet in quarantine?
If you wish to know more, you'll have to speak to Herr Hagenmeier. All I know is that Marquet's room is strictly out of bounds.
Do you know who paid for Marquet's room?
No, of course I don't.
Preferential treatment like that must cost an arm and a leg.
That's not my concern, monsieur.
Do you have any clowns on the ward?
Why, yes, we do. A professional clown.
I'll bet he lightens the place up.
Hardly. Monsieur Boissy has been in a coma for the last 3 months.
What's wrong with Boissy?
He was involved in a very nasty accident. A silly stunt involving a unicycle. His current condition is due to post-traumatic shock. It's unlikely he'll ever perform as a clown again.
It's an ill wind that blows nobody any good. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
Okay, beautiful.
Thank you, nurse.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hello? Anybody home?
Who are you?
My name is Dr. Stobart, and I'm here to steer you down the rocky road to recovery.
Dr. Monroe said there was no cure for what I've got.
Your problem is you stayed in bed too long.
Are you sure you're a qualified doctor?
You better believe it. What can you tell me about Marquet?
He's the man in the private room, isn't he? That room was mine before I was tossed out like a common squatter.
Do you know what's wrong with Marquet?
They won't even say what's wrong with me. Tell me, Doctor, what's your opinion?
It's too early to say.
But I've been here for 3 months.
What's your impression of Nurse Grendel?
She's a very efficient young woman.
Efficient? You make her sound like a vacuum cleaner.
I've no complaints.
The woman in reception described Nurse Grendel as a monster.
Well, that's simply not true. She's quite strict, but that's her job, isn't it? You've got to have discipline in a place like this.
That's very true.
I'm going to take your blood pressure.
Why?
I'm a doctor. It's my job.
Well done, George.
Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, Doctor. Who is it?
A cold-blooded killer. Have you ever heard of the Club Alamut?
I'm not really a nightclub man, Doctor.
I'll come back later.
Doctor!
What is it?
You haven't taken my blood pressure.
I'll try to.
Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
Of course I am.
No, you're not. Dr. Monroe never did it like that.
I can't take a satisfactory reading while you're excited like this. I'll come back later.
Oh, Doctor.
What now?
You didn't finish.
Oh, bloody hell.
Okay, let's try.
You don't have the first idea what you're doing, do you?
I'll come back when you've recovered your manners.
What is his bloody problem?
Pardon me, nurse.
Oui, monsieur?
What is this device?
It's for taking the patient's blood pressure, doctor.
Does this gem mean anything to you?
It's beautiful, but I've never seen it before.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
Thank you, nurse.
Au revoir, monsieur.
You haven't finished taking my...
Bloody annoying guy.
Will you keep quiet? You're disturbing the other patients.
I'll keep quiet when you've taken my blood pressure properly.
I have to see Jacques Marquet first.
How come he gets preferential treatment? It's because he's got money, isn't it?
I'll come back when you've dealt with that chip on your shoulder. Hi, it's me again. I'll come back later.
Hey, I asked you not to... Oh, no. I'm responsible for that cupboard and the contents.
Okay. Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Yes, sir? Pleased to meet you, sir.
Call me George if you like.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's my name.
My name's Benoit, but everyone calls me Bunny.
Bunny?
That's right. I used to have this cute habit when I was a kid.
Keep it to yourself, Benoit. Do you know anything about a patient named Marquet?
No, sir, I don't know much about any of the patients.
I've never met a doctor who admits that he's only human.
I'm only a trainee, sir. I'm sure I'll get the hang of things.
Do you know the nurse on Ward J2?
No, monsieur. This is my first day here. I can't wait to get my hands dirty. I was talking about treating my first patient, of course. I didn't mean I'd get my hands dirty with a nurse.
Shut up, Benoit.
Okay, sir.
Here, take this pressure gauge.
Thank you, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, keep it safe until I think of something. See you later.
Right.
Excuse me, sir.
Aha! Just the man. You must be the new boy.
Yeah, I must be.
Well, stop wandering about and make yourself useful. Bernie, come here, boy. This is Benoit, my nephew. Can I trust you to look after him?
Yes.
He is fresh out of medical school. It will open his eyes to see a real doctor on the job.
I'll bet.
Show him around. Let him see some real suffering.
Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Follow me, Benoit.
I'm right behind you, sir.
Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Do you still have that gauge I gave you?
Ah, yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Use it on Eric Sopmarsh.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Stobart.
Bonjour, docteur.
Have you heard of a guy called Marquet?
He's in quarantine, doc. Right behind this here door.
Marquet is just the man I wanted to see.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you. He has anthrax.
I have to visit my patient.
What for?
Routine. I have to check he's still breathing.
What if he's not?
I'll sign the certificate and register his bed as vacant.
That's a cold and distant attitude to death.
Well, I've been institutionalized to the point of godlike aloofness.
The white coat suits you.
Thanks. Have you seen any suspicious characters on the ward?
Yeah, I have.
A gorilla and a weasel?
No. This was a tatty old bear.
How was the bear acting suspiciously?
Well, he was wearing a homburg.
Is that against the law?
No, but it's pretty weird for a bear.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I have never seen him before.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamet?
No, it sounds Middle Eastern.
Would you like to shake hands?
What for?
As a gesture of goodwill.
On reflection, no.
Catch you later, officer.
Au revoir, Doc.
Marquet?
Yes, I am Marquet. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lahmar gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
I thought you were one of the assassin.
Not me. I never inhaled.
So, you were sent in my place?
Yeah. You could hardly make the trip to Ireland in your condition. What should I do with the gem?
Deliver it to the Grandmaster. Quickly tell him that I have found the tripod. Right here in Paris.
You have it?
Not yet, but it's being taken care of. I hired a couple of stooges with a flair for petty crime.
Would that be Flap and Guido by any chance?
You know them as for Klausner. Syria on a wild goose chase.
They have geese in Syria?
As a theory about the location of the...
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquet. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course.
Monsieur Marquet is my patient. If Herr Hagenmeyer was to hear that...
Okay, I'm going. I'd learned all I could from Marquet anyhow.
Ah, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Thanks, Bunny.
What's that noise? It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
He's an imposter! The door's locked. Help me, officer.
Stand back, monsieur.
Hello, George.
Right, just bear with me for a minute. I just need to have a quick smoke, get a drink, and some twigs and starving. I'll be right back. back. Comfy. Okay. Oh, Nico.
I found Jacques Marquet.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah, killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man? Was it Khan?
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly wasn't Khan. He got away, out the window. Have you ever heard of the Hashi Ashin?
No.
Marquet said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil. He had wild, staring eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor again. Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves. Let's take another look at the manuscript. There's a guy with between them, a knight with a night scroll through my... There's a woman, look at the reflection. There's a guy working on a loom.
Look there, two...
I guess I'd better go back and talk to that weirdo.
Which one, Rousseau or Sergeant Mou? Oh, but you're referring to Andre.
I'll let you work it out. It was just some police paperwork, a search warrant. Sergeant Mou?
Yes.
I'd like to report an assault.
Yes, monsieur? Where is the victim?
I'm the victim.
I see.
Outside, they
could you...
One, their name...
Bon.
See you later, Sergeant. I beg your pardon. Are you Andre Lobineau?
That's me. You want my autograph?
No. I was told you may be able to help me.
Help?
My name is George Stobart. I'd like your professional opinion.
Well, okay. Shoot.
Does the name Montfaucon mean anything to you?
Sure. It was the most grisly spectacle in Paris until the Revolution.
A public toilet?
Montfaucon was the place of execution for many thousands. A dark temple of death, with row upon row of arches, each one framing a grim exhibit. Scores of rotting corpses swung on creaking rope, while the crows devoured their flesh.
That explains the image of the hanged man. I found a reference to Montfaucon in Ireland, in a village called Lochmarn.
Lochmarn? That's where Pegram was digging.
That's right. He'd left the excavation before I arrived. Do you know Pegram well?
Not really. I met him at a conference. I would have liked to talk to him in depth, but I didn't have time.
When was this?
Oh, back in the summer, July, I think.
I think you ought to know that the tripod is going to be stolen.
The Lochman tripod? No.
It's true. I can give you a description of the thieves.
Before the supposed event has taken place?
I heard them planning the raid.
They're wasting their time. The tripod is protected by a state-of-the-art alarm system.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Have you ever heard of the Hashashin?
Why, yes. It was a radical Muslim sect whose name became synonymous with murder. It was formed in 11th century Persia, shortly before the Crusades.
At roughly the same time as the Templars.
Yes. They gave a new word to our language. Assassini.
Why don't you loan the tripod to me for safekeeping?
Because I'd never see it again.
Well, don't you trust me?
It's not a question of trust, George. That tripod is hundreds of years old and extremely fragile.
I get your point. How did the assassins get their name?
From the legends surrounding the secrets of their initiation rites. A young man who sought to join the sect was given hashish until he drifted into dreams. He awoke to find himself in a fabulous garden with everything he could wish for. The freshest water, the most delicious food, the choicest hash, and the most delectable women imaginable.
Cool. Do you have the address?
I haven't finished the story. There was a price to pay for this taste of paradise.
Wouldn't you just know it?
The young man would wake the next day to find himself back in the real world. He was told that he'd been given a glimpse of the heaven reserved for holy martyrs. A heaven he would enjoy for eternity if he was willing to join the Hashashin.
How did the assassins operate?
Well, as I explained, the new recruits would be only too willing to die for the cause. They'd be instructed in the use of the dagger, poisons, and disguise. Then, the Grand Master of the sect would name an enemy of Allah.
And they'd stop at nothing to eliminate that enemy.
You got it. They were fearless and deadly.
Does the cult of the assassins still exist?
Take a look around at the world today. You tell me.
I'd like your opinion on a medieval manuscript.
Vraiment? Do you have it with you?
No, it's too fragile. And besides, there are certain people who'd stop at nothing to get their hands on it.
Intriguing. Do you have a copy of the text?
There isn't much. Only a few Latin phrases. I was kind of hoping you'd help decipher the pictures.
Without seeing the manuscript, that's a tall order.
Just tell me one thing. What does the image of two men riding on the same horse suggest to you?
The Knights Templar. Does the Templar seal appear on this manuscript? I'd love to see that for myself.
The manuscript is being looked after by a friend.
In Paris?
Yeah. Not far from here, in fact.
Well, just give me the address and I'll come round and take a look.
I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I should check with her first.
A female friend?
Yeah, she's a woman. Can you tell me anything about the Knights Templar?
I sure can, Georgie. Soldiers, diplomats, mercenaries, monks, bankers, you name it, the Templars fit the bill. The greatest fighting force in Christendom, the militia of Christ.
Jeez. This friend who has the manuscript?
Oui, the anonymous girlfriend.
She lives at 361 Rue Jarry.
Ah, I know it well. I'll drop by. Just as soon as I can.
How did the Templars get their name?
From the building in which they set up their headquarters. The King of Jerusalem gave them part of a mosque on the Temple Mount. It was said to have been the site of the original Temple of Solomon. The order became known first as the Knights of the Temple, and later as the Knights Templar.
You're a mine of information, Andre.
Glad to be of help, Georgie.
How come the Templars became so wealthy?
There was a constant stream of new recruits to the ranks, many from noble families. They were required to swear a sacred oath of poverty, chastity, and obedience. So, their money, goods, and lands were donated to the order. The Templars soon held land in France, Scotland, England, Spain, most of Europe, in fact. The poor Knights of Christ became the wealthiest power in Christendom.
Is it true the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found?
Who knows? So little knowledge of what really happened remains. Or if it does, the truth has never been made public.
What do you mean by that?
The Templars have attained mythological status, like the King Arthur of the Britons. There are people even now who say the Templars still exist.
Do you think that's likely?
No, not for a minute.
Where was the site of Montfaucon?
To the northeast, near the Canal Saint-Martin, but there's nothing there now. The old gibbet was torn down during the Revolution.
Does the guy in this photograph look familiar to you?
No.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
Alamut is the name of the place where the Hashashin were based.
Where is it?
Somewhere in what used to be called Persia. I'm not too hot on modern geography, I'm afraid. The most recent map I have shows America as an English colony.
I'd like to shake you by the hand, Andre.
Not now, Georgie.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, officer. Shouldn't you be off directing traffic or something?
You have seen the Parisian traffic, no?
Yeah, so?
I could direct the traffic. The most dangerous, the east side of Rome. Or I can sit here and enjoy the sun, the architecture, and the Sauvignon. Which would you choose?
Yeah, but I'm not a policeman. What happened to duty?
An excellent question, monsieur.
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers. Only that they were excommunicated in 1312 and hanged in their dozens within this very square.
Boy, what they teach in the police academy these days.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
Have you seen this man before?
No. Who is it?
I believe him to be an international assassin.
Oh.
Is that all you can say? Oh.
I did wonder if I should say that I believe you to be an international paranoiac, but it didn't seem polite.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
In French, English, and German it read, "In 1312, Pope Clement V dissolved the Knightly Order of the Templars and excommunicated its members on charges of heresy. In the following 2 years, many of the knights were hanged on this site. Their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burnt at the stake on an island in the Seine." I didn't have time to sit around. A knight, there in the company of his fellows. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world. I guess. A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. Well, I could have just taken the end off the staff, but I wanted to be sure what I'd be getting out of vandalizing a church, other than deported.
There we are. That's good. Microphone back on.
A stone knight lay in full stone armor, blank eyes looking at the ceiling. Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. A stone knight lay at the end of a row of 4. I wondered if this guy had died in combat. I didn't have time to... On the end of the staff was some kind of disc. Somehow it looked more modern than its neighbor.
Hey, you! What do you think you are doing? Leave that comer alone. Now.
Sorry, no harm intended.
You stay away from that.
On the end of the stack, around the base. Well, I could have just, but I wanted other than deport.
Twitter post.
Excuse me, officer. Shouldn't you be off direct?
You?
Yeah.
Which?
Yep. I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
It is closing time, Monsieur Lobineau.
Already, there just aren't enough hours in the day.
More than enough for me. I can't wait to get home and put my feet up.
Eh bien, see you tomorrow.
Good night, Monsieur.
Quit fooling around, you moron! Get your ass over here and bring that flashlight! What the... Who's there?
Let's get out of here!
And when I woke up, I was at the police station. Luckily, I managed to persuade Rosso I was innocent.
Poor Georges.
What a mess. I bungled the whole thing.
I don't think so. You made a pretty good job of distracting those two crooks.
Yeah, but the killer got away with the tripod.
No, he didn't. He's not the only one who can dress up in costume.
You mean
Nico.
it was you who stole the tripod? Oh, hell, Nico. I could have been shot.
Those dogs are more likely to shit their own feet.
I just wish you'd told me your plans. We're supposed to be in this together. And how come you dressed up like a pantomime cat?
Don't sulk, Jersey, please.
Oh, rats. And don't call me Georgie.
Oh, I really thought you'd be pleased. After all, we've got the tripod. Oh, by the way, I had a visit from André Lobineau.
Oh, yeah. I hope you didn't mind me giving him your address.
Not at all. It was lovely to see him again. He was over the moon when I showed him the manuscript. It's not often he gets that excited. He made a sketch of the Knight's crest to take back to the museum. I believe he's identified the family who bear that crest.
I sure hope so. I'd better get back to the quest. Hi, André.
Hello, Georgie. Hey, I visited Nicole's apartment.
Yeah, she told me you came by.
Ooh, quite a fine Georgie boy. I didn't expect anything quite so sexy.
I hope you're referring to the manuscript.
Oui, of course.
What did you make of the manuscript?
It dates from the time of the Crusades.
We guessed that from the Templar seal.
It's a story and pictures like a modern-day comic book.
What story does the manuscript tell?
I don't know. It was probably produced for the tourist market.
Tourists?
Oh, oui, pilgrims in their thousands on their way to Jerusalem. The tourist trade is nothing new, you know. It's been around for centuries. Ever since Joshua made a packet selling souvenir bricks from the walls of Jericho.
Break the walls down.
Have you deciphered any of the images on the manuscript?
There's very little I can be sure about. The slang of the bull could be a reference to Mithras.
Who's he?
A Persian god, almost as popular as Christ at one time. The only thing I can be sure of is the knight. He's Spanish.
How can you tell that?
The writing on the shield, the reference to Ave Maria. No self-respecting knight from Northern Europe would have borne a coat of arms like that.
Can you identify the knight's coat of arms?
I already did, Georgie. He's a member of the De Vasconcelos family from the Costa Calida.
Were they famous?
No, they're not mentioned after the 15th century.
Oh.
The spotlight of history moved on. They're probably long dead.
Thanks for your help, André.
You're welcome.
Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Thanks for your help. Hey, you with the balls.
Oui?
How did you learn to be a juggler?
Juggler? What is this juggler?
It's you. You juggle, that makes you a juggler.
No! I am a jongleur!
A jongler? What's that?
Mon Dieu! A jongleur is an artist, a master of the contragravitic aeroballetic mysteries. In centuries past, the courts of the crowned heads of Europe had the jongleurs, witty, erudite men to whom the monarchs turned in their hours of need.
Wait a minute, wait. Let me get this straight. Our enemies are at the borders, plague ravages the land, and the peasants are revolting. Thank God we've got Chuckles the Jongler to throw his balls around. I don't think so. Look, a red nose.
Oh, you say, whoop-de-doo.
Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Excuse me, officer. Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Aha! A prosthetic nose. Very significant.
It is?
No, I am just having a little joke.
What do you know about the night?
Les Templiers and...
Boy.
No, monsieur.
Shouldn't you be...
You...
Yeah.
I could... Or I... Which...
Yep.
And...
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers? Ah, their last Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burnt on an island in the Seine in 1314.
Wow. You're pretty well educated for a juggler.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.